recording, we are a record-keeping people. How do you record what you learn? Like, let's talk about you personally first.
Well, I have a journal.
Okay.
I actually have two.
Tell me more.
I have one that is just my journal, and if we go on a trip, or like we went to the opera last week, I'll staple the ticket in, and I'll write about the opera, and I'll write my feelings and blah, 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 what we do, just kind of like
a diary, kind of like
a diary,
except for it has your feelings in it. So
yeah, just kind of both, kind of a mishmash. Then I have another journal that I use just for when I'm studying my scriptures, thoughts, impressions. So like yesterday, I was reading my scriptures, and I knew that my visiting teacher's grandma was sick, but I'm like, I am supposed to text her.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that in my journal, and when I got done, I was like, oh yeah, I need to text her. Because that's, I close my scriptures, and I'm like, oh, because I write right at the end.
Okay.
And I had that impression in the middle, and I had written it down. And if I hadn't written it down, I don't think I would have remembered. I know that probably sounds crazy, but I wouldn't have remembered, because I would have gone on with my studying.
Right.
And I texted her, and she goes, yes, she did pass away this morning, and thanks for calling. And I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
But the Spirit does. And I just trust that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And that's what she needed, and I offered help. And do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just really feel like it helps. We also record as a family in we call it our Happy Thought book.
Okay.
But it's not all happy.
Okay, so explain.
Like sometimes they can write what they're thankful for, or what the most exciting thing was, or what made them happy, or so like they could think about something during that day. Like usually my younger children think about something that made them happy during that day. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be running water, or it can be outside of what made you happy. It could just be like you're thankful, happy. So we just do it every day.
And every day, like every morning or every night? Every night.
So it's part of our family scriptures, because we read, as a family, we read at night.
Okay.
And we do our happy thoughts, we read our scriptures, and then we do our little family cheer.
And do you write them all down, and they just talk and you just write them down, or do you pass the journal around, or how do you do it?
We talk about it. So everybody says it out loud, and then if they have any questions, we can ask questions about it. Or sometimes it causes a whole laughing thing because everybody was involved in it. And it takes time, but to me it's time well spent.
Yeah, yeah. And so do they each write their own individual?
No, I write them all.
You write
Unless
them all. Okay.
Travis writes it, or Eliza, or Bree, whoever's writing it, they write it all.
Okay.
So sometimes we can't read what they wrote.
I bet.
Because like Eliza, we look back like 10 years ago, and we couldn't read her handwriting.
Wow, interesting.
And Jared and Aiden are now in that space, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It will be okay.
Yeah.
So we can't read for 5 months what someone wrote. It's okay.
That's great. I love that. I think that's really unique. Is there any other ways that you record?
And then we also, on Sunday, we have what's called a power hour. And they can work on scouts, or faith in God, or personal progress. And I'm just available to help them. And so a lot of times we're doing a lot of recording with those activities.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're busy doing something, and then I can record for our family.
Okay.
So that's a time when I'm like, okay, what pictures do I want to include? Because I make a family scrapbook. And what pictures this week do we want to include in that? How do we want to make that work?
Is it a physical scrapbook or a digital?
Yes, both of them.
Or both.
It's digitally done but printed out.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's way easier that way for me.
Yeah.
And everybody contributes to it. So we have the spelling problem again, but that's okay.
That's life.
So, Eliza might, if it's open, then all the kids are commenting and saying stuff and typing stuff in, or putting little pictures in, or emojis, or whatever they're doing.
That's great. I love that.
It's not always tidy, but I'm happy with it. Yeah. And it's a reflection of who we are. And I like
what
that.
you were going through that week.
Yeah,
I love that.
And lots of weeks it doesn't happen, because lots of times they really do need either my help or Travis's help, and sometimes we need another adult to help someone, but that's kind of how it works.
Beautiful. I like it a lot.
To be notified of our newest YouTube videos, be sure to click the subscribe button here. Head over to our new website for the latest gifts and promotions. For more videos like this one, click this playlist here.